This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. China has a massive workforce who are paid wages that are far lower than workers earn in the US or Europe. And yet, China is putting a massive effort into dominating the global market for humanoid robots that could replace humans in factories. Reuters reports that at the World Robot Conference in Beijing this week, over 24 robot companies showed off their humanoid robots. Goldman Sachs estimates that the materials needed to make a humanoid robot cost about $150,000 right now, not including the R&D investment that went into it. That's about what a UAW worker will be earning at the end of the current labor contract. But one Chinese robot company says it expects to get the cost down to about $30,000. Tesla claims it will have 1,000 of its Optimus robots working in its factories next year, and we've reported on several other automakers testing humanoid robots. Goldman estimates that the market for these types of robots will hit $38 billion a year by 2035, with 1.4 million being made every year. Sales of electric cars have slowed dramatically in the US, but that's only for new ones. Cox Automotive reports that sales of used EVs shot up 70% in the first half of the year and are now running at nearly 80,000 units a quarter. A key reason for the surge in sales is that the average price of used EVs dropped below $30,000. While used EVs that cost more than that can sit on a dealer lot for months, used EVs priced between $20,000 and $30,000 only take 30 to 36 days to turn, and that compares to 39 days for most ICE cars. And remember, used EVs that are at least 2 years old and are priced below $25,000 are eligible for a $4,000 rebate from the federal government, which makes them even more affordable. The EV slump in Europe is forcing Volkswagen to scale back battery production. It planned to open 6 battery plants globally by 2030 that would produce a combined 240 gigawatt hours a year. But VW is cutting that back to 3 plants in Germany, Spain, and Canada with a combined capacity of 170 gigawatt hours. If needed, VW says it can ramp that back up to 200 gigawatt hours. But it's another sign of how automakers believe the EV segment will take longer to grow than they originally expected. And along those lines, Italy's industry minister is threatening to pull funding for a Stellantis battery plant if the automaker doesn't commit to opening it. Stellantis partnered with battery maker ACC to open 3 plants in Europe, but earlier this year, Stellantis delayed 2 of them, one's in Italy and Germany due to the slowdown in EV sales. The plant in Italy was supposed to start making batteries in 2026, and now it's unclear when it will start. Italy wants an answer now, or it's threatening to pull all government subsidies for the plant. China has a cash for clunkers-like program that looks like it's really working. Customers can get roughly $2,800 for turning in a clunker and buying an NEV. New car sales are expected to be up 7% compared to the month before, and NEVs could hit nearly 1 million units, which would account for over 53% market share. Brands like Wuling that sell cheaper cars are doing particularly well. Its sales are up 30% so far this month, and we expect other cheap cars like the BYD Seagull to also do well. But those increases are likely short-lived, as the Cash for Clunkers program will eventually dry up. After running into a buzzsaw of problems this year, GM Cruise finally got some good news. Starting next year, Uber riders will be able to choose to take a trip in an autonomous cruise vehicle. Cruise and Uber entered into a multi-year deal, but they didn't reveal where the Chevy Bolt-based AVs will be deployed. Uber has a similar partnership with Waymo and started offering autonomous rides in Phoenix in October of last year. Apparently, drivers in the UK have no clue about some of the tech in their cars. JLR commissioned a survey of 2,000 UK car owners to ask them about their driver assistance systems, and it found that 41% have no idea how their ADAS works and can't even locate the sensors on their cars. That last part is even more important because nearly 20% of people didn't know that dirty sensors can reduce how well the systems work. But some just don't care. Even after finding that out, 20% said they still don't plan to clean their car more often.
Knowing that when it's time to unplug, your tires were built to get you to the place you recharge. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Turanza EV tires with a 50,000-mile limited warranty.
What's the first thing you do when you get in a really hot or really cold car? You blast the AC or the heat, right? Well, what if that wasn't completely necessary? The Hyundai Group is showcasing a number of technologies that will keep car interiors and passengers more comfortable while also improving efficiency. One is a film that gets applied to the windows. It has 3 layers that help block out infrared radiation while still allowing heat to escape. But it's not a window tint, it's clear, and it can keep an interior up to 12.5 degrees Celsius or over 54 degrees Fahrenheit cooler compared to vehicles with regular glass. Next, expect to see more radiant heating in Hyundai and Kia vehicles, especially their EVs. Picture heating elements baked into the steering column, doors, center console, and glove box that radiate heat onto the passengers. This is already an option on the Kia EV9, and because it gets a person up to a comfortable temperature faster, you can conserve up to 17% more energy than just using the HVAC system. The group says expect to see radiant heating on more models in the future. And lastly, it filed patents for metal-coated heated glass technology that would replace regular tungsten wire heating elements. But it says it's completely invisible and can still block out up to 60% of solar energy. It's designed to work with a 48-volt system and can defrost glass 4 times faster and use 10% less energy. The group says it also plans to launch this tech on future vehicles as well. Chinese automaker Geely had an impressive first half of the year. It sold about 956,000 vehicles, up 41% from a year ago. New energy vehicles and hybrids accounted for 320,000 of those sales, up 117%. And exports were a big contributor to that growth as well. That big boost in sales pushed revenue up 47% to $15 billion, and net profit surged 575% to an impressive $1.5 billion. And Geely expects to have a strong second half as well. It's targeting 2 million sales for the year, with a 70% increase in new energy vehicles and exports up 45%. While new energy vehicles are the fastest growing segment in China, extended range EVs or EREVs are the fastest growing part of that segment. Many Chinese consumers like the idea of a range extender to eliminate range anxiety. That's why we were interested to learn about the EREV technology that Avatr just unveiled for its 07 SUV. Avatr calls it Kunlun. The range extender is a supercharged 4-cylinder 1.5-liter IC engine with 115 kilowatts of power. That's 154 horsepower. It has an amazing 15-to-1 compression ratio and an equally impressive 44.39% thermal efficiency, making it one of the most efficient engines in the world. Power comes from a 231 kilowatt or 309 horsepower electric motor. Avatr, whose largest shareholder is Chang'an, claims the engine runs at only 75 decibels. Using electronic controls, the engine starts using the piston lowest in a cylinder because it will have the lowest cylinder pressure, which can reduce vibration. Avatr claims it's reduced vibration by 90%. Avatr worked with CATL, one of its other joint venture partners, to develop a 39 kilowatt-hour battery specifically for EREVs, so it still performs well with a low charge. The 07 can do repeated 0 to 60 km/h runs in about 5.9 seconds with a low charge, or about 1 second slower than the regular time, while most other EREVs will lose about 4 seconds when the battery is low. Avatr also uses the car's connectivity to anticipate when it will be stuck in stop-and-go traffic, and it runs the IC engine before that to charge the battery, so the car will be in a quiet electric mode for a more comfortable experience. While Chevy just recently revealed the fastest, most powerful Corvette ever, the ZR1, there's an even more extreme version coming. A source tells Autoline that a version of the ZR1 with an electric motor on the front axle and a much more aggressive aero package has already completed some testing. We don't know if it will use the same front motor as the E-Ray, but that puts out 120 kilowatts or 160 horsepower. If you combine that with the twin-turbo flat-plane crank V8 from the ZR1, total power output could be over 1,200 horsepower. This same source told us about the ZR1 well before the ZR1 was officially revealed, so hopefully they're right about this possible all-wheel drive monster Corvette. And with Ford having a Mustang that tops the Corvette in price and track readiness with a $325,000 GTD, we think there's a really good chance we see this Vette. But that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day, and I hope that you have a great weekend.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering boost your game. MEDC, where Michigan businesses are powering the future of mobility. And by Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.
When we did our research for the talent that we need for this program, Michigan was really the top of the list. In order to be successful in this space, you really have to have the right people, the right mindset, the right environment.
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
Intrepid's NeoVi Pi, allowing automotive engineers to interface, capture, and monitor vehicle data using Raspberry Pi. As a matter of fact, it's the automotive industry's first robust platform for Raspberry Pi, featuring Intrepid CAN-FD technology and Raspberry Pi compute module. The NeoVi Pi is designed for automotive environments, allowing use with relative power ranges and applications. In addition, the NeoVi Pi enables you to use the Raspberry Pi for compute while avoiding additional development to adapt to network environments. That makes the NeoVi Pi powerful enough to solve your vehicle network problems, yet small enough to fit in your backpack. One of many Intrepid tools used for developing zonal architecture and software-defined vehicles.
Wards is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now, check your company's intranet for details, and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.